The major themes of the Media Summit are strengthening democracy, combating climate change, and advancing press freedom and the freedom of expression. These issues are of great importance and relevance today more than ever before. But we should be mindful of the fact that they require constant public engagement and vigilance from society. We are all aware that democracy is under increasing strain and faces multiple challenges even today. The disruptive nature of technological change and abrupt shifts in traditional modes of communication have triggered political and social polarization and enabled a reckless and rampant spread of misinformation and disinformation, which was referred to by the previous speakers as well. The wildfire of misinformation and disinformation, in turn, creates incalculable negative impacts on the exercise of the rights of the individual and freedoms, and negates the very fabric and foundation of society. This harmful trend should not be allowed to proliferate any further. It is important to understand how the distortion of information through misinformation and disinformation undermines a democratic system deeply from within, and why curbing such corrosive trends should be an urgent priority in the pursuit of strengthening democracy. I earnestly believe that more than others, the primary responsibility of confronting and correcting this alarming development rests with the media itself. There can be no better reference of the press than the press itself. The best antidote to darkness can be nothing but light. Free speech and the freedom of expression are the light that we need in even greater measure today. That is how we hope to build a democratic, progressive, and inclusive society for all. And that is how we should be moving forward as a democratic society. Sadly, democracy faces subtle but corrosive challenges with a declining trust in institutions, which is both a cause and a symptom of democracy flailing from within. Democracy requires its adherents to embrace the ability to understand and respect opposing points of view. Yet, we are living in an age where the foundational value of appreciating dissenting perspectives is ending more precipitously than ever before. Here lies the critical role of the press. As a custodian of truth, a platform for diverse voices, and a bridge across ideological divides is the great role that has to be played by media in Nepal and all over the world. The role of the press is critical in the pursuit of achieving a deeper and more meaningful democratic system. The freedom of expression nourishes the flowering of diverse perspectives and creates the space for a range of political, social, and cultural viewpoints. Press freedom nurtures pluralism and questions the veracity of echo chambers. Freedom of speech bridges the gaps in political debates by bringing multiple perspectives into play and helps build an organic, inclusive, and holistic public marketplace of ideas. It also helps the cause of seeking transparency in government and connecting people across political divides, reduces hostility, and promotes civic engagement. This is how a free press promotes democracy. Democracy, in turn, creates the right condition for advancing the cause of economic growth, social development, and cultural progress, which is the vision of our future, and also our responsibility to the future generations. We firmly believe that the freedom of expression is critical in strengthening democracy. This is why the state's commitment to full freedom of the press is enshrined in the preamble itself of the Constitution of Nepal, apart from the guarantee of freedom of speech as a fundamental constitutional right. It reflects Nepal's commitment to safeguarding freedom of expression and free speech as a basic, unalterable feature of the Nepali society. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to dwell on the issue of climate change, though briefly. In recent years, Nepal has suffered devastating consequences of global warming and climate change. Climate-related disasters like glacial lake outbursts, floods, and extreme weather events have taken a huge toll of life and property across the country and come as a wake-up call to take urgent and concerted action in combating climate change. The impacts of climate change are everywhere, but in the mountainous and developing countries like Nepal, they are particularly egregious. The fact remains, though that Nepal's carbon emission on the global scale is negligible, it is grave injustice that we are affected by the crisis not of our own making. This is a fact that I also went to present at the ICJ in December of this year. It is essential that the world acknowledges the vulnerabilities of countries like Nepal and supports targeted mitigation and adaptation strategies. Nepal believes that there should be a remedial program and strategy specially tailored for the needs of climate vulnerable developing countries like Nepal. We have therefore been consistently at the forefront of advocating for climate justice in international forums and multilateral institutions. I urge the press and media fraternity, especially representatives from various countries present here, to amplify coverage of the issues and impacts of climate change faced by countries like Nepal and support our call for climate justice in international forums. The role of a free press will be critical in the pursuit of concerted and meaningful action against climate change, especially in the world of today, where powerful countries are now denying the whole concept of climate change. In the absence of a free press, crucial facts and data will be at risk of being set aside and downplayed or misrepresented or even ignored altogether. A free press and its corollary, which is quality journalism, alone is capable of translating dense and complex data related to climate change into accessible language and into the public sphere. As people become aware of the dangers of climate change, they will begin to take action at their ends, and effective, meaningful changes in a bottom-up approach to social progress is much required. A huge voice is required even now to really initiate climate change action and to really make sure that global policy is changed. Otherwise, we are still only talking in rooms like this, and the changes are not really happening at a speed that it should be happening. A free press will hold the governments and the corporate world accountable for their policies and actions regarding climate change and give voice to the poor, downtrodden, and vulnerable people impacted by global warming. A free press will help raise global awareness about the perils created by climate change in climate vulnerable countries like Nepal, and I'm really very happy that NPU is organizing this conference and actually taking journalists from all over the world to the very place where we can see impacts of climate change. This will promote international cooperation and mutual collaboration among states to mitigate the adverse impacts of climate change, while at the same time adapting to its irreversible consequences. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate that a free press and the freedom of expression are not only unalterable elements of our constitutional guarantees, but constitute the very essence and foundations of Nepali society. We hold press freedom dear to our hearts as it advances the cause of democracy, progress, and a harmonious society. It has beneficial impacts on society and advances the overall well-being of the people at large. I am therefore very pleased that the Media Summit will be deliberating on these important matters in the various seminars and workshops over the next few days. And I hope that the discussions of the summit will bring valuable insights into our understanding of key issues intersecting the realms of democracy, the digital press, AI, climate change, and the freedom of the press. Before I conclude, I wish to commend the organizers for the choice of the venue. I see some of the Media Summit events will take place at Pokhara and Upper Mustang. The choice of these places resonates strongly with the theme of the summit, especially on climate change, like I have mentioned before. And I do hope that the summit participants, along with fresh air, gain fresh perspectives on matters of vital significance for humanity in the pristine serenity of the Himalayas for the benefit of us all. I wish the Lumanthang International Media Summit all success. Thank you, and Jai Nepal.